We can take this information along with the units of length, mass, and capacity and start solving problems on the other page. So looking at this page, we're asked to estimate which is the best measure for each of these different scenarios. So I see a ballpoint pen is about 14 of these units long. Since I'm dealing with length, I'm going to look at meters, and I've got to ask myself, a ballpoint pen, how would I measure it, and what set of units added together 14 times would be the length of a ballpoint pen? Well, I know that one fingernail, I'm just going to put fingernail here, its width is about 1 centimeter long, or has a width of about 1 centimeter. And if I took 14 fingernails and lined them up next to a pen, I'd probably have about 14 centimeters. So I know 14 centimeters is probably a good estimate for a ballpoint pen's length. What about a football field that is about 100 of these units long? Well, using customary units, you'd use yards, but we're looking at the metric system, and I know that a football field would be about 100 meters long. And in fact, looking, if we were in Europe talking about football, you wouldn't necessarily be talking about American football, you'd be talking about soccer instead. And let's move forward to another problem. This next problem asks, hey, you have an orange and it has a mass of about 600 of these. Well, now we're looking at mass. So if I were to put one orange in my hand, so I'm just going to put an arrow down here and say it's in my right hand. And in my left hand, I'll just do another arrow and write left hand. I had another object, and in this left hand, I had 600 of these objects in my left hand. Well, if I'm just looking around my classroom right now, I see a paper clip on a desk, and I know that if I had one paper clip in my hand, one paper clip is really light. But if I kept adding paper clip after paper clip to my left hand, and I got up to the point to where I had 600 paper clips in my left hand, well, that might be about the same mass of an orange. I also know that a paper clip is equal to about the same, it has the same mass as 1 gram. So I know if I had 600 grams in my left hand, it would probably be about the same mass as the orange in my right hand. So what I can write here is that it is about 600 grams. And in this last problem, an ice cream scoop holds about 100 of these units. So holds, that is a key word for capacity. And capacity a lot of times deals with fluid. So let's think about ice cream as melted ice cream, or it just hasn't been frozen yet. If I were to take a single drop of that ice cream, that's just a little droplet there, a drop of that ice cream, and if I were to take this drop of ice cream and drop it into a bowl, let's just draw a bowl here. Well, after about 100 drops of ice cream, if I were to take that ice cream and put it in the freezer and freeze it, it would be about the size of 1 scoop of ice cream. So I'm looking at about 100 drops of fluid. Well, I know that 1 drop of fluid, or 1 drop of water, that is equal to about 1 milliliter, or ml for short. Well, if 1 drop of water is equivalent to 1 milliliter, then 100 drops of, well, in this case, ice cream would be equivalent to 100 milliliters, which would be the same as about 1 scoop of ice cream. Cool stuff.